Guys, welcome back to my podcast, Stories from Dead People. If you listened to the first episode, I hope you liked it. And leave a comment down below if you've seen it. I want to see how many people seen it. And if you want to see the first episode is called Hitchhiker Mimic. But without further ado, here is Stories from Dead People, Episode 2, Danger on the Floors. And it was dark, cold at night. I was in an asylum. I lived there for years. I have been doing stuff I couldn't know how to explain. It was only one thing I could do. But the next day, after I had breakfast, I got a little curious. So I stepped out of the breakfast room after I was done. And then I went towards the storage room, saw a documentary. It read, "This is top secret. If you read this, don't tell anyone. We are working on a monster called All Floors Crawler. Or we like to call it the Skin Crawler. The original name was designed by someone that didn't know that this would be a skin crawler. We got it off a novel script called The Factory from Another Planet. And it is a humanoid figure, all pitch black, with a creepy smile and long eyes. And before we continue, you see the monster on the image? This is what it is. This is the skin crawler. But let's get back to our podcast. So I froze, dropping the binder that said top secret. I forgot to tell. After that, I went to my cell. I was terrified, but I remember one word. It said, modern massive asylum. Did you see that? Reference to Outlast. Sorry, I did 2 stops. Let's just get back to the podcast. That was the asylum I was in. I had nothing left to do. I didn't want to tell anyone. I could get in trouble. The next day, in the middle of the night, I heard helicopter noises from outside of my window. "Alright, bring in the cage." I took a sneak peek out of my window, and I saw a 10-foot wide cage, people carrying guns, and this sound coming from the cage. I froze in terror. It was so loud my cellmate woke up. I couldn't understand. I quickly hid under there, but then I heard, "It's on the loose!" I heard metal snapping. It was on the loose. It let out the same scream. People were running. They were firing guns. Bullets echoed through the walls. I was horrified. There was blood everywhere. I could hear the screams of the people begging for mercy. It's already too late. Broke down the doors. I knew we had to escape. I quickly told my cellmate, "Hey, did you hear that?" He said, "Yes, I saw the entire thing. It was perfect. I didn't have to tell the entire story all over again." I let a quick, deep breath. Before then, we went to the door. I was banging on the door, but then a key card slipped through the tiles. I quickly got it and unlocked my door. Good. And then I saw a computer. It was recording a security camera. I quickly went to the tabs, saw this. It was the monster inside the hallway, and I saw 2 to 4 dead bodies, and there was an entire blood path. Inside its mouth was an arm. I was frozen. I didn't want to be in this place anymore. This felt like a real-life horror movie. I let it out horrifying screams. Before I went to a storage room, and then I heard it. It was the sound. I froze in immediate terror. I quickly ran to the storage room, but then I saw the monster on all floors peeking. It let out the same scream. I did a betrayal. I went into the room, closed the door on my cellmate, and I could hear him scream, "Ah!" before blood was going through the tiles. I found the screwdriver, but then I saw the door smashing. It was so much terror. I knew I had to use the screwdriver quick before it was gonna kill me. I quickly unlocked the vent. I was in so much terror, and then the door broke down in half, and then it let out the scream again. Before I disappeared in the shadows of the vent. I was crawling through the vent, terrified. I bited my lip to distract myself from the murder of my cellmate. But then I saw Bane. I looked to my back and saw glowing white eyes. It was whatever that monster was. I quickly ran, and it let out the same scream I kept hearing. I immediately went through the left before it banged on the door, before it banged on the vent. I was crying with silent tears before breaking down a vent door, escaping the vent. But I was in a room. I had to turn on the power so I could unlock the emergency fence. So I quickly snuck around and there were dead bodies everywhere. Before something fell, I could hear it. It echoed off the walls. It was whatever that monster was. I quickly went to the power room, saw that I had to find a code. I saw a computer file, codes. That's what it was called, codes. Went through looking for a power code. Then I saw breaker code. Yeah, it was called, the computer was called The power is called Breaker. And I quickly moved my hand towards it and then clicked on it. It said 8648. And then I put the exact same numbers for the power turned on. But then I could hear something. Quickly opened the door, but then it lunged at me. It opened his mouth and ripped off my arm. I was in immediate pain. I quickly ran, and then I went through the gate, but I couldn't close it. I kept running, and I was so sweaty. I didn't want to die from this monster. But then I found a staircase. I quickly run down before I almost broke my ankle falling down the stairs. I stood up to see that it was still chasing me. I quickly hid to a corner and it seemed to lost me. I was on the second floor and I had to make it to the first floor under any circumstances. So, try to find something, but I saw my arm on the floor. I could only use one arm. Blood was everywhere. My left arm was so painful. Worst thing is that I'm a lefty. I quickly snuck around. I opened the security room door, and I saw a crowbar hanging on some hook hanging above. I quickly grabbed it, and then it almost fell on the floor. I was almost gonna accept my death before I catched it in time, swerving, and then it hit my elbow. It hurted so bad, but at least it was silent. So, in a sigh of relief, I quickly exit. The emergency room was blocked off with planks, so I quickly used my crowbar to smash the boards, But then I saw a door with a number on it. 010. I was kind of confused. There was never 010 door in this place. I opened it in curiosity. Then I saw something. It was a person hiding in the corner, terrified. And then it was stuttering at me. It's behind you. I froze. I could hear death sounds in my head. Turned around me, nothing. But then something went through my chest. I was still alive, and before it went through, I quickly ran. I was so close to dying. Even a single scratch could kill me. I didn't want to die. Managed to make it to the elevator, but the power was off there too. I was horrified. There was only one thing I could do: turn on the power before I die. So, I find the power room, and then I turn on the breaker. But on my way out of the power room, I saw the monster staring at me, blood all over its face, but it said something. It was, "If you want to live, die. If you want to die." I was so confused by what it said, I just run. Before I heard gunfires. "Stay on your level." I didn't know. Turns out it was one of the experimenters for shooting me in the arm. And I was Now, even the slightest scratch could kill me. I quickly crawled to the floor. Blood was streaming down the hallway. Before I quickly used my ripped off arm, to the smash the emergency exit door. It was actually a ladder. I quickly climbed the ladder. I almost slipped on one of my blood, letting out a tiny little gasp before I catched myself. Then I continued the climb. It was an emergency helicopter. I quickly got in it before I turned it on. I used to be a helicopter pilot before it crashed into a bridge. I was finally safe. But then I heard a whisper from my behind. Do you want to die? I froze, turned around, and saw the monster near me. It stabbed my heart with its claws. I was dead. The helicopter was flying towards the ground, exploding. The monster, it wasn't dead. It was still alive. It went back into place to kill more people. Alright, that's it with our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye. See you on episode 3, Childhood Forest.